Again, in this part, we are going to go through and solve a system in 3 variables by substitution. Okay. Now, once we decide the method that we are going to use, and you will get to pick the method, so you can always do substitution or always elimination or go back and forth between the two. Elimination works every time. Substitution does work every time, but sometimes it gets messy. So if we are going to solve by substitution, we want one of the variables to be really easy to solve for, meaning we are going to identify the variable in one of the 3 equations that has a positive or negative 1 with it. So in problem 1, the only nice variable to solve for, where we won't have to deal with fractions, is z in this 3rd equation. Okay? So what that means is I'm going to have to get the z by itself. So to do that, I am going to choose to add the z over to make it positive, and at the same time I'm going to add the 17. So this equation is going to become z equals negative 5x plus 3y plus 17. Okay. So now that I have one of the equations by itself, I'm going to substitute it one at a time into the remaining equations. So we're going to have 2 substitution problems. So if I start with equation 1, I'm going to replace the z with this expression. And if it helps off to the side, you can write, so if let's say I say equation 3 into 1, that's how I would show what I'm doing. And that's a 3, not an 8, even though it looks like an 8. My pen got a little thick. All right, so this will be 2x plus 4y minus 5, parenthesis, and then now I'm writing this, negative 5x plus 3y plus 17, and then equals 18. Okay. And now I'm going to simplify until I can't. So I'm going to distribute. So this will be 2x plus 4y, and then plus 25x minus 15y, and then negative 5 times 17 is going to be negative 85 equals 18. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my like terms. So I'm going to combine the x's. So that will be 27x. I'm going to combine the y's. So negative 11y. And at the same time, I'm going to add the 85 over. So this is going to be 103. Okay, and if it helps you, we can put a little star by this one because we're going to come back to it. Okay, so but now I have to go through this same process with the other equation that I haven't used yet. So that means that I'm putting my equation 3, okay, so again to kind of show what I'm doing, into the 2nd equation this time because I haven't used that one yet. So again, I'm going to replace this z with this expression. Okay, so this will be negative 3x plus 5y plus 2, and then negative 5x plus 3y plus 17 equals negative 27. Okay, again, now I'm just going to simplify, so that means I need to distribute. So negative 3x plus 5y minus 10x plus 6y plus 34, and then equals negative 27. So again, I am going to be combining the like terms, so combining the x's, combining the y's, and then subtracting that 34 over. All right, so starting with my x's, that will give me a negative 13x, and then for the y's, I will have a positive 11y. And if I subtract my 34 over, that will give me negative 61. So I'm also going to put a little star there. So now that we have substituted twice, what we've done is we have found, so depending on what your picture looks like, if we go back to our kind of our book reference, we have found kind of this intersection and this one. And now we're hoping that it's going to end up looking like this, where we can find that single point. Okay, so we have found the intersections of 2 planes, which are lines. So now we have to find the intersection of these two lines, which is going to give us a point. So for our next step, these two equations that we came up with are going to get put together. So we'll have 27x minus 11y equals 103. And then negative 13x plus 11y equals negative 61. So now we're just going to solve that like a two-system equation. So we can continue a substitution, or if it's easier, we can switch to elimination. So if I'm looking at this, these would eliminate really nicely. So I can just add those equations together as is and cancel out the y. So this will give me 14x, and then that will cancel. And then 103 plus a negative 61 is going to be, let's see, 42. And then if we divide by 14, x is going to be 3. Okay, so I have found one of the variables. Okay, so now I need to find the next one. So if we know one, we want to substitute it into an equation that only has two variables. So I'm going to go back to this grouping right here. I'm going to pick one of these two equations, and I'm going to substitute the x back in. It does not matter which one you choose. So I'm going to use the second one. So this will be negative 13 times 3 plus 11y equals negative 61. So now we are just simplifying. So this will be negative 39 plus 11y equals negative 61. So I'm going to have to add the 39 over. So 11y equals, let's see, negative 22. And then if we divide by 11, that means y has to be negative 2. Okay. So now I have two of the three variables, because remember we have to find an x, a y, and a z. So to find that third variable, we are going to go back to one of the original equations or the one that we solved for. And we're going to plug in both numbers that we know. And that will give us our third variable. And it doesn't matter which one we pick. I'm going to pick this one because it's already solved for z. Okay, so we will have z equals negative 5 times 3 plus 3 times negative 2 plus 17. Okay, so now I'm just simplifying. So this will be negative 15 minus 6 plus 17. And here we are just combining everything that we can. So if we need to do it in 2 steps, you can, or if you want, you can just type all of that into your calculator and calculate it in 1 step, or do it in your head in 1 step. So this will give me negative 21, and then plus 17 is going to be negative 4. So that is my third variable. Okay. And then we are always going to write our answer as an ordered triple. So it goes x, y, z. So our point of intersection is at 3, negative 2, negative 4. All right, so go ahead and pause the video, and I would like you to attempt the next problem. And then I will do that work in our next video.